Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV for tonight's presentation of the Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway. 125 laps at the peculiarly shaped oval here in not Missouri, but in Illinois, which was always surprised me. But it's right across the border from the Gateway Arch, so just outside of St. Louis here tonight. A bit of a short track here for our IndyCar series on Tuesday nights. Very excited to be back and running the show for the first time in a while here on Tuesday nights. With me is my good friend Gael Brooks. He will be helping us call the action tonight. Gael, what are you looking forward to the most here on this beautiful Tuesday night?
It's going to be a fun one tonight. Selfishly, I think the thing I'm looking forward to the most is seeing that number 51 of Jim Brooks back on track. Love to see him behind the wheel once more. So I'll be without his motion rig hooked up because he doesn't need to be getting shaken around or anything like that. But I just love this track, though. It's going to be a lot of fun. Very, very different two turns, how you want to set up for those turns tonight. But again, turn 1, 2, very tight, very tricky with the bank, a little bit more banking. 3 and 4, a lot more flowing, can carry a lot more speed in these cars. So these guys are going to kind of balance between which turns they have, where they're better, where they're worse, having to make those adjustments here tonight. And this hearing field number probably around 35 laps, I believe it was. So I'll have to keep an eye on that field number here this evening. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun tonight and seeing how these guys balance it out for 125 laps tonight.
Definitely should be a lot of fun. We'll be looking forward to the race tonight. Going to be interesting for sure. As you mentioned, the track quite different at both ends. I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to be playing quite a bit with those weight jackers and the ARBs to change the balance of the car. Honestly, not even just as the run goes on, but also sometimes in the same lap. So down both straightaways, changing settings to make the car feel differently in both ends of the speedway. Because thankfully you can do that with an Indy car. All that downforce and all those tools to help you attack the track better on both ends. As it looks like so far, the one who has attacked it the fastest in qualifying here is Jeff Highsong. On the outside provisional, so starting P2 right now would be Nick DeGroot. We do have about a minute and a half left in the lone qualifying session here, so every driver takes his or hers 2 laps by themselves on the track, and then we'll line them up for the race. So is there anyone in particular? I know we've seen a lot of times in this league where certain people kind of rise to the top at these short tracks versus at the mile-and-a-half or bigger tracks, but do you have anyone on your radar that's going to be really strong tonight at what really is a short track for these Indy cars?
Well, so you and I talked about just a little bit before going live, and say the one that we would probably be pointing at right off the bat would be Andrew Wood, who's unfortunately not here this evening. Andrew would be the top of my list of ones to watch, but other than him, I'm not sure, honestly, because I feel like it is going to be very difficult to pass, and we've had some good insight as well from one of our racers, that Yari Brupacher, saying it's a bit difficult, especially in 3 and 4. Sounds like it's going to make the race pretty interesting also for setting up passes. So sounds like you're going to have to really work hard to get some track position here tonight, so it could make pit strategy a critical one. And of course, I think one thing we mentioned from last time we were here is how difficult pit road entry and exit is. I think that's going to be another one to really watch tonight. But for drivers to focus on, honestly, not sure, but I'm going to say maybe we look at qualifying and look at the kind of the top 2 in the points, and I say kind of points over to that Jeff Highsong, Nick DeGroot for the ones who have been the ones to kind of control the season thus far. Kind of not reaching very far on a limb on that one, but it's going to be fun to see who's able to kind of make those adjustments over the course of tonight.
Yeah, and we'll see here who was able to run the fastest lap on the grid. We mentioned Jeff Highsong had the fastest lap at the time, and he was able to hold on for qualifying. So we'll run through that grid here. You mentioned Jeff Highsong already. Second in the points, really close to Nick DeGroot. Obviously, those two are on the front row tonight and in the front row of the standings as well. Really doing a great job this season. I mean, obviously, Nick DeGroot already has 3 wins to his name. We also see a couple drivers up here Gary Corley and Jim Brooks in the second row. Great to see, as you mentioned, Jim back this week. We also have Luis Gonzalez Nunez, who had a great run last week before some troubles mid-race. So hope to see him capitalize on a good starting spot. Along with him is Matt Wagner to his outside. Jari Brubacher and Craig Forsyth will make up the fourth row for the evening, with Eric Peterson and Dylan Macintosh rounding out your top 10. We do also have William Gunn and Joseph Morales on the sixth row. And we'll go through the last few here. We also have Chris Matthews joining us. He is going to be our in-race reporter for Green White Checker TV. You may hear him as a second chair on, I believe, Sunday nights and Thursday nights. So he's definitely one of the guys. We appreciate him joining the race tonight for some in-race action. And to his outside will be one of our Super Speedway drivers, Vicente Guerrero. So excited to see him come through and try to do the IndyCar side of things as well. Rounding out row number 8 will be Chris Gubot and CJ Holloman, as well as, actually, I don't believe Julian Altina will be starting tonight. So those 16 drivers will take to the grid, as we will see the pace car roll off here in just a moment, Gael.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I said, a few new names, new faces tonight. Like you mentioned, Vicente Guerrero, of, like I said, one of our regulars on the Super Speedway side. Going to be fun to see him wrangle these Indy cars here around Gateway. And then, yeah, say bringing in Chris Matthews. He was wanting to do a little bit of racing. Chris Jabot as well. Going to be fun to see what those guys have in store for us. They had mentioned these things are a handful here at Gateway. So we'll have to see what goes on here tonight, what those strategies are going to be. And of course, it's been kind of the story of the season is fuel mileage with these cars. So we'll see if the fuel mileage strategy comes into play here again, maybe with some difficulty passing. Maybe these guys back down their pace and just try to run that magic fuel number to maybe try to cut a pit stop out of this thing. So we'll see what the strategies are going to be here. But like I say, you got 16 cars taking grid here tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what they got in store for us.
Yeah, for sure. I personally love short track racing in just about any series, no matter what kind of car it is, on dirt, on pavement. It's always fun for me, and it should be a lot of action tonight for sure. I am expecting at least one caution. The last time we were here, we saw so many people struggling to get to pit road, or some people having issues on the pit exit as well, and just general short track racing issues. So should be a blast. We'll see if our two championship front runners can finish up there on the front row tonight after starting P1 and P2. That's Jeff Heisong again and Nick DeGroot. They are in inverse order of the championship standings right now, as Nick has been the class of the field, but for now Jeff is going to be the one to lead them to the green flag as the pace car is making its way down pit road into turn number 1, lap number 1, green flag.
Yeah, as everybody's going to stagger out and say they got to be careful too. Tires are still cold. Everybody's got to try to get settled in here. And say now you can say, unfortunately, a little bit of a hiccup there on the initial start. They saw a little bit of a blink there from the 18 there. You can see, again, the blinking continuing. So I think you see him kind of dropping down, trying to stay out of the way here. But say it's very difficult to do that here. So right now, Nick DeGroot going to lead lap number 1 at a very difficult to pass track here. So we'll see how these guys manage on. But I think
we got a wreck.
Yeah, Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner, both involved. No yellow yet, unfortunately. I think those tires just weren't up to speed for the 51 and the 6. Both in pit road, or not in pit road, sorry, on the back, just trying to get looped back around. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's going to be trouble here early. Yeah,
we'll jump back live. You saw the replay there of the 51 just getting too much, maybe off of turn number 2 and hitting the wall. A couple guys are, Gary Corley even. Oh, Gary Corley just did the same thing, it looks like. But he collected it after Matt Wagner. Wow, they got to have a yellow flag after that. Wow, yeah, that's a lot of action to unpack there. Okay, let's see if we could go back through some of that.
Yeah, I'll try to see if we can find where the incident came out that brought out the yellow. I think it may have been around Eric Peterson on this one because, yeah, there was a lot happening in a very short amount window. And, So
we're going to watch the first incident here real quick. Jim Brooks just gets a little bit too much off of turn number 2. He kind of collects the nose of the 6, it looks like. And they both had, wing first into that inside wall. A big hit for both of those guys. So this is not what brought out our caution. We'll try and jump to that here, as I believe we saw Eric Peterson going off of track after I think Gary Corley actually made his way into the wall. So we'll take a chance here to back this up just a second. Oh, it looks like Eric Peterson actually made contact with maybe Jim Brooks, who was still slow on the inside of the track there.
Yeah, exactly right. So actually, I went back and took a look, and so what happened there was, like you said, there's an incident with the 7 and the number 15, and what happened from there was, I said, they really stacked up the line there, and then unfortunately for Eric Pearson, just kind of was blind on the backstretch and went low to avoid it, and Jim was just right there, just trying to get back to pit road. And so that was where the caution came out between the 7, or when it kind of kicked out between the 7 and the 15. And then, yeah, unfortunately, Eric Peterson, just kind of the innocent bystander there.
So we just see the 7 high there, and then the 15 kind of has to check up right behind him. Not sure. It does look like there was a little bit of contact made. And then we will jump back to, it looked like Eric Peterson here. So we'll jump back to Eric Peterson, who was kind of an innocent bystander. Didn't see the slowing 51 of Jim Brooks. Tried to dive low underneath Gary Corley and just makes big contact with the 51 after the 51 had already wrecked. So unfortunate for both of those guys there. Big hits early on.
Yes, and there's also some stuff going on after the yellow. There's some drivers trying to get sorted out there, and unfortunately, a couple of drivers with some contact there as well. So what we have is a bit of a mix of drivers hitting pit road, staying out. You have Nick DeGroot, Jeff Hyson, Craig Forsyth, and Dylan Macintosh all staying out, as well as Yari here. But you're going to have pretty much the second half of the field here. Luis Gonzalez is going to hit on pit road. I think he has damage from that contact we had just mentioned. Also bringing along with William Gunn and saying pretty much the rest of the field here. So the question now is, it looks like for drivers that had to take tows, including Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner, Eric Peterson, CJ Holloman, all having lengthy pit stops on pit road. Jim right now just rolling off of pit road here. So yeah, so that's going to unfortunately set a number of these drivers multiple laps down right now. It looks like Jim might be the first one out here. Yeah. But it's going to be 3 down, so unfortunately, going to be a big hill to climb for a number of our big hitters tonight.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a hole that there is still a lot of potential for chaos at a short track like this. So who knows? Obviously, Eric Peterson now coming out 2 laps down. There may be potential for these guys to have a chance to make that back up at some point, but we'll see here. So we are 6 laps into this. So I think the caution actually came on lap 3. So but it's probably going to shorten the fuel window, but the race by about 6 laps for those of who did actually pit here. So it'll be interesting to see. Most of these guys pitting last lap on lap number 5. So shortening the race just a little bit. And if you don't mind me taking a second, I'll crunch some numbers here and see what that does for our pit windows.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have the numbers of where we're at, because it's going to be very intriguing. And like I said, I'm sure some drivers are going to try to run some fuel mileage here, but definitely a bit of a tough start to open up. Like I said, a bit of some confusion between a couple of drivers as well. So everybody's trying to get resorted here, reorganized. But yeah, showing actually looks like Eric Peterson and CJ Holloman actually 2 down, not 3 like Jim. So that's a plus for them. And yeah, it looks like about 12 drivers still on the lead lap. Unfortunately, Matt Wagner's still sitting on pit road. I think actually Matt may have retired from the event. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not seeing him on track at all.
Yeah, he may have. Because he jumped to
go green.
Yeah, he jumped to the pits, so I would have expected him to be back by now, but maybe an early retiree, unfortunately, for the number 6. But as you mentioned, yep, we are about to jump back to green, and Gael, why don't you take it away for the green flag?
So yeah, watching Nick DeGroot here, he's got the control of the start, and of course that's going to be the all-important thing for Nick, is to try to get a good start and try to avoid that chase down, because that's where things get real dicey, as he is down and away, as you can see. And then you have to watch out back, look for recording effects, and so far so good. Looks like everybody's keeping it clean and green into turn 1. These guys got to remember, a lot of them are back on those cold tires, probably no temperature once again, so they got to build that temperature once more back up and get back after, get comfortable again. But so far, it looks like everybody through 1 and 2 clean.
So far, so good. As we get back underway, 1 lap in the books after the restart here. Definitely going to start to single file out just a little bit. Definitely at the short tracks here, I believe what we say about a mile or so less than a mile or so in length for the IndyCar series, considered a short track, so they don't really get much of a draft or a tow at all here. So if you do start to lose, make that gap or increase that gap to the guy in front of you, you're not really going to be able to rely on aero to make that back up. So it really is a true short track even for these Indy cars here, as we do see Nick de Groot actually running the fastest lap of the race that last lap, and Jeff Heisong and Craig Forsyth within about a tenth to 2/10 of his lap times currently. They are absolutely driving away from the rest of the pack. Currently a 1.6 second gap from Craig Forsyth back to Juraj Brupacher, and then a little bit of chaos spread throughout, but fairly quiet here after that restart so far.
Yeah, so far pretty calm. Like you said, they built a nice gap over Yari, so I think that's going to be them trying to keep that breakaway going, and say Yari probably going to be under pressure pretty soon from that 14 of William Gunn there in that Red Bull machine. And then you've got the number 15 Luis Gonzalez able to recover. He's right back on it. But pretty impressive, though, say after that unfortunate miscue on the initial start there for Jim Brooks, he's actually staying pretty aggressive here, trying to stay right on the tail of that number 15, almost a few times looked like trying to pressure him. But right now, one of our highest climbers so far is this number 83 of Chris Jabot there. He's up 8 positions from his seventh position, or from his 15th position up into 7th, I should say. So I say he's able to keep it clean, get around all that craziness, and also pitted on lap number 5 as well. So it's a good opportunity for Chris, maybe pull some fuel mileage here like we've talked about before. We're talking during practice, he had mentioned just trying to find the pace that some of these other drivers were having. But obviously race pace versus qualifying pace, 2 very, very different stories. So maybe Chris can kind of work a little bit field numbers to his strategy to try to get a top 3 finish tonight.
Yeah, we will have to see tonight for sure. Definitely going to be a mixed bag of strategy. It'll be interesting to see what people try to do as far as undercuts or overcuts. They're still probably going to have to make about, for those who didn't pit, they're probably going to have to make about 3 or more than 3 stops for the rest of the race. Really, that was kind of the tale from the beginning as well. So with 125 laps and about a 35 lap fuel window, you're going to have to make at least 4 stops. So really that those who pitted on lap number 5, unless they can extremely save some fuel, really not going to be too much different in strategy, but that does give you a lot of room to play with as far as changing up the strategy, whether you're going to short pit or long pit. Short pit being pitting early to try and have the fresher tires for longer, try and leapfrog the guys who stay out, versus pitting long, where you try to stay out on old tires as long as you can, and then have the freshest tires towards the end of the run. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, obviously, like I said, the yellow flag not really changing up too much so far, other than obviously we put quite a bit of our drivers within the top 15 a few laps down, and we do actually see Matt Wagner has rejoined the race, now 7 laps down, so he is still running in this race tonight.
Yeah, we got a good little fight here between about 4th through 7th. It's looking like you've got Juraj Brupacher just hanging on in front of William Gunn, and then William lost a little bit of momentum. It's actually dropped back into the risk of getting attacked from Luis Gonzalez. And then we mentioned Jim Brooks even though he's a couple laps down, he is definitely trying to see what he's still got in that number 51 here. I see Luis peaking low, entering turn number 1, but still nothing there. As again, they're all going to jump around, try to find that clean air. And so right now, Luis, again, under threat from Jim. And then you can see it's bringing in Chris Jabot. It's bringing in Eric Peterson, who's, again, 2 laps down. And then also Chris Matthews creeping into the picture here as well. So I said these guys, as they battle, the momentum will swing. And then one driver will kind of lose momentum. They'll make another charge back at it. So talking about field number those, Boomer, looking at if you can make it on a 3-stop race, it's going to be about 31, 32 laps is the magic number to make it to, which I was hearing again about 35. So I think that's pretty much a guarantee. Should be able to do 3 stops no matter what. For those that topped off, if they want to try to pull a 2-stopper off, having started from green flag, it would have been about 42 laps on fuel. So maybe closer to about 40 or so if they can make these final 2 runs in 40 laps or so on fuel. May be able to pull 1 pit stop away. But that being said, though, this is one of the most treacherous pit road entries and exits here on the circuit. We've seen mistakes happen before, unfortunately, so I would be a little tentative to try that. And I think for pit strategy, though, as well, Boomer, I think I wait as long as possible to pick because I'm just too afraid of a caution to come out and kind of just ruin my race by getting trapped a lap down.
Yeah, for sure. We saw that last week where Luis Gonzalez Nunez was one of the first ones to pit and actually made his way onto pit road safely, but the second car who pitted was unfortunately not able to do so, and it trapped Luis down one lap, and really he never recovered from it for the rest of the race. So definitely expect him to be one of the guys to watch these guys try and run as long as possible, not be the first one to pit with this treacherous pit road, but there's not, depends on where you are on the track. Obviously, for the most part, Nick DeGroot here up in the lead doesn't really have a chance to. He's getting a little bit of draft there from Matt Wagner, it looks like, but not really having a chance to save a ton. But it doesn't look like Jeff Heisong or people like Jari Brubacher are having a chance to save either with, over a second gap to the cars in front of those guys. So definitely, we'll see who can run the longest, but definitely not as much of an aero game to save fuel here tonight.
Yeah, saying, do need to mention we saw Luis Gonzalez able to get around William Gunn to move up into that top 5. And say now what's happening for William is he is under extreme pressure from that 51 of Jim Brooks. Jim actually going to peak on the inside, and you see right there Luis going to roll out of it. Same thing with Eric Peterson. Eric's going to swing around Chris Chabot. So again, those are passes for position, but those are drivers. Again, they're just going to try to fight hard and get any of their laps back that they can, and probably a little bit of driving frustrated as well for those drivers, either being in the wreck or getting caught up in the wreck. And just like, they don't want to just sit around and ride. They want to see how hard they can push these things. They feel like they had the pace, I feel like, tonight. So that's why you see those moves by the 51 and the 36. And also, importantly, getting them in some clean air to just kind of boost that pace up even further. And right now, look at that, though. Chris Chabot, Chris Matthews, they are right on the back of this thing. And they haven't really run these open wheel cars for a while. Was able to kind of do a little bit of recruiting, if you kind of can say that. Got them into the field here, and I let them know where they're going to be at. Like, oh, okay, just throw us at one of the more difficult tracks to start off our season here. Thanks, guys.
Yes, we have the Chris and Chris show that we will have to be watching here throughout the night, but definitely excited to see some new faces, and obviously our great friend of the broadcast, the Chris Matthews machine of that 92 there. So excited to see those guys run tonight, as looks like William Gunn is starting to fade a little bit more, as Chris Chabot able to get around him as well. So we're going to take a second here now that it's a little bit stretched out. Maybe try and go through the field here. What do you think, Gael?
I think it's worth the gamble because it's going to be right before pit stop, so I think that's the perfect timing for this one, Boomer.
All right, so we will pick up with our leader, Nick DeGroot. Haven't really touched on him too much lately, but he's really been setting the stage here. Now has about a second gap over Jeff Heisong, so consistently running pretty quick laps. He's consistently 1 to 2 tenths faster than this guy, Jeff Heisong, our second place in the race and the point standings as well. And bringing up the top 3 right now, just behind him is Craig Forsyth, who is running very comparable laps to Jeff Heisong. So these 3 in the top 3 have really started to make a huge gap. So it's going to be another 5.5 seconds to get back to Jari Brubacher, who's just making his way onto the backstretch as those guys are entering turn number 3. Here, Jari is sitting in 4th place, up 3 positions from his starting spot of 7th tonight, having a nice clean run so far. Just behind him is Luis Gonzalez Nunez, who's looking to bounce back after a poor run last week. A lot to do, without being his own fault. So hopefully he can, rebound from that last week issues. With behind him will be some of our newer guys, as we've already mentioned. We've got Chris Chabot in this 83 machine, HendrickCars.com. A little tribute to Kyle Larson, maybe there. Good-looking red or blue, red and white scheme. We did actually have a position change here. William Gunn was actually able to make it around Chris Matthews, so he moves up into the 7th spot and up 4 spots on the night. Behind him, Chris Matthews in the number 92 MSI machine. Nice looking red, white, and black machine there. And a couple more cars in the top 10. Do also have Gary Corley here in the Jimmy Johnson scheme, it looks like. Love to see that in the number 7 machine. Gary is currently down 6 spots, but looking to rebound after some of the contact that he had made earlier. He is currently on the lead lap, about 13 seconds back from our leaders. And we do also have Joseph Morales here in the top 10, as we are actually going to jump real quick. Looks like we do have our first taker for pit road. That's actually going to be Craig Forsyth. So a little bit of strategy there as he comes down to pit road a little early, you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised by this. Usually Craig, I think, is kind of the overcut driver, but you're right, though. Craig going for the undercut here this evening in that number 27. So, serious, this is the risk versus reward. And actually, as I say that, next time around, here comes Nick DeGroot, also on pit road. 1 lap later, Jeff Heisong going to stay out. He's going to lead this lap this time. So, yeah, so the pit road window is opening for these guys. This is pitting around 33, 34 with the yellow. So I'm thinking that 35 laps on fuel might be actually a little bit optimistic, Boomer, from what they're saying, because this seems early to me.
Yeah.
Unless maybe taking the caution or the road course approach, maybe trying to pit a little bit once you're in your window, kind of pitting backwards. So for Craig, though, now he's going to have to try to see if he can cycle out in clean air, and the answer to that is no. He's going to come out right behind Gary Corley, who we were just mentioning. So now that we're going to have to keep a close eye on, though, is where does he come out in relation to Nick DeGroot, who's rolling out of pit road right now. And then also need to mention Jeff Heisong also on pit road, and looks like easily going to clear is that number 89 Nick DeGroot by about 3 lap cars in between them. So great entry and exit for the 89 machine.
Yeah, for sure. Nick DeGroot there. He's actually currently working in 10th position now, as we do see Jeff Heisong's going to be coming out of the pits this time. But they are currently 1 lap down to our leader, so something to keep an eye on if there is a caution that were to come out. So Jari Brupacher is going to bring up the lead, and Luis Gonzalez Nunez will be behind him in second. So the only 3 that stayed out on that last caution were Nick DeGroot, Jeff Heisong, and Craig Forsyth. So they have all pitted. So we might expect to see these guys starting to come in the next 2 to 3 laps here. So Jari Brubacher pitted last on lap 4, and then a lot of other drivers pitted last on lap 5, so came down a second time, I believe, to top off on fuel. So we will see here how this ends up shaking up, but expect more pit stops here in just a moment.
Yeah, I say right now these guys trying to work their way through traffic who have those fresh tires like Craig Forsyth, Nick DeGroot, Jeff Heisong. So right now Nick's been able to kind of get the best of all of them. He's been able to separate himself by about 1.8 seconds, as my assistant commentator here is very excited about what's happening there. Apologies for the interruption. But yeah, so pretty impressed though with the fuel mileage out of Jari. Like you said, these guys all pitting at 33, 34, 32. Yari's already gone 5 more laps in that 49 car, so he's just really stretching the fuel even more than what we talked about before. So maybe Yari decided, you know what, I'm going to top off and maybe try to run a magic fuel number here. So we'll keep an eye on him as once again staying out to run another lap. So maybe we talked about Boomer pitting lap 4. If he can stretch that fuel number, I think it's about 40. I think 40 laps was my magic number when they topped off. Actually, maybe 41, 42. So it's still going to be tight, but I mean, I always love the gambles with these guys. I think Jari will hit pit road this time. Heard him call in there, so we'll see him come in. It looks like Luis Gonzalez, though, he's going to stay out to take over the lead here. So it's got to. Jari's going to spin an entry.
Yep. Darn.
Caution is out. I'm not sure if it's for Jari. I think there's another one.
Well, looks like the Jari Brubacher and Eric Peterson going to jump back on the track there after the yellow comes out to not pit when pit road is closed. But we'll take a second here to try and jump back to what iRacing says was the cause of the caution. So we'll see if that was the Jari spin. It was, apparently. That's interesting. Usually down on pit lane or off the racing surface like that, that's not enough to cause a caution. But maybe because it was the pit entry being blocked, I'm not sure. That's a unique one. Usually if you're on the apron, it doesn't throw a caution. At least
so everybody's trying to get themselves resituated here. As you see Luis Gonzalez, he's going to lead the field onto pit road here. And yeah, so what's happened here though is Luis Gonzalez is going to pit from the lead, but Chris Jabot here, he's going to come in second position now on pit road from all that craziness that just happened there. So yeah, a really good job here. So all those guys that were able to stay out, go a little longer, a big benefit for them. And also I think a huge benefit here, Eric Peterson, as he had just been able to stay out here. I think he's going to come around, and I believe should be the first car one down, if I'm not mistaken. Waiting to see how everything cycles around real quick, and that's going to be the next question. Is I believe this is going to trap Nick DeGroot, Jeff Heisong, Craig Forsyth all on the tail end of the lead lap. They'll have to take the wave around. So very interesting.
They're gonna get who did anyone not? Yeah, everyone pitted. So, okay, so Jeff Heisong, Craig Forsyth, and Nick DeGroot are all gonna get a chance to. Actually, no, yeah, Nick DeGroot got the lucky dog, and I think Jeff Heisong and Craig Forsyth are going to be able to wave around to get back on the lead lap. Eric Peterson and
he's gonna
CJ
have to pit,
Holloman.
right.
Yeah, Eric Peterson and CJ Holloman are also going to be forced to pit here, unfortunately, so they will remain 2 laps down, I believe.
Yes.
There's only showed 1 lap down right now, but it's because they are ahead of the leaders. So I think Dylan Macintosh is in the same camp here as well. So it will put, like we mentioned, Jeff Heisong and Craig Forsyth back on the lead lap. Obviously, Nick DeGroot is going to be able to pit here as well as getting his lap back for being the lucky dog. So he really is probably the biggest beneficiary of this caution, other than probably Jari Brupacher, who was able to get a yellow to bunch the field back up after his spin here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where Yari is going to cycle. I think he's still going to stay on the lead lap. So yeah, so the miscue actually going to wind up being kind of a blessing in disguise for Yari, and be able to stay on the lead lap, I believe. So yeah, so great break for him. It's going to push, like you said, Luis Gonzalez is going to stay in the lead here. Promotes Chris Jabot all the way up into second spot here in that, like I said, that number 83 HendrickCars.com machine. And yeah, we're going to see those wave rounds by Jeff Heisong, Craig Forsyth, Jim Brooks. Jim's going to go from 3 down to 2 down that way.
Actually, I believe he'll be. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Well, actually, no, I think we'll wait for the update. Right now, it's showing that he's 3 down, and it may stay 3 down since he's already in front of the leader. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, right now it looks like we have 2 drivers, 2 laps down of Eric Peterson and CJ Holloman. That would right now be the lucky dog battle, depending on how things shake out here. So we'll keep an eye and see where that all shakes out. But yeah, right now though, also have Joseph Morales. Actually, he's going to roll in the pit road here, Boomer. He's going to top off this number 6 machine along with Vicente and Yari. I'm gonna try to throw some math together here, because we're going to restart this thing on lap number 45. So if I'm right, this is going to be about 81 laps to go. That tells me if you can go 41 laps here, you could make this on 1 more stop. So I like this strategy if you can make it happen. Or again, even if you run it long and you get that yellow during pit stop cycle, maybe you trap half the field a lap down. So this will be a fun gamble for some of these drivers.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, we'll run the numbers there, and we'll be watching here as the pace car is lights out, and we'll be pulling onto pit road here this time by. So a beautiful break for Luis Gonzalez. Nunez definitely had a little bit of trouble with some of the cautions not falling his way and some of the action not falling his way last week. And a bit of a gift here tonight at Gateway, maybe the racing gods, karma coming back to help him out here, but he is going to be our man on the point, as he's going to be in control of this restart. We mentioned Chris Jabot behind him in second place. William Gunn will be starting third. Chris Matthews and Gary Corley will be our top 5 to restart the running order. And in just a second here, we will see the 15 get up to speed, get up through the gears, and he is away. A nice breakaway from the field in front of the 83 of Chris Jabot. We're maybe take a second here, and we're going to crank it up. Trouble there on the speedway as we actually see the 15 coming to a halt.
Our race leader there.
Wow.
And wow, that's not something we would have expected. So we'll have to go and see what happened here, because like you said, that's our race leader. And I think just on his own, unfortunately, I think just cold tires maybe. And yeah, I'm going back and taking a look at it while you do as well, Boomer. And that car just steps out from him. And yeah, did not expect, I should say, to see that happen. But that's going to bring back out the yellow here, which is a great gift for Eric Peterson on 36. That'll put him from 2 down to 1 down, and also promotes Chris Jabot now to the lead here. So pretty, again, for a season opener for Chris, looking pretty good to open this thing up here. And yeah, so this fuel mileage is going to be even more intriguing to see who's willing to pit, who's willing to stay out.
Yeah,
So
so what did your numbers tell you,
yeah,
Gael?
I was right around 40 laps basically if that for them to make it. So that's going to drop it even lower. Now I'm going to say 39, 38 laps from here. So I think for sure I think Craig Forsyth needs a hit, and yeah, here he comes. He hits pit road, as does Jeff Heisung. I love the strategy for these guys. Really nothing to lose, like I said, because they're actually about 10 laps off of everybody else. And it looks like they're going to have some friends along with them. Yari Brupacher in there, Vicente Guerrero. So a big chunk of drivers all hitting pit road, about 4 of them. Nick DeGroot stays out, as does Joseph Morales. So, but yeah, like I mentioned, we'll see that 36 here swing around the pace car here, I believe, to get one of his laps back. But man, that's big change here in the way this race is unfolding. Unfortunately, don't know if that's going to be night over for the 15. I can't remember. I think he was already in one incident, so this might be an early retirement for Luis, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Obviously, he's had some great runs, had some great speed, and just not able to seal the deal. But he might have to wait at least one more week to try and get back to the winner's circle here on Tuesday nights. But that will give the lead over, like you mentioned, to Chris Jabot. Luis Gonzalez, Nunez, and Matt Wagner are the only 2 in pit road right now. Definitely helpful to Eric Peterson, as I believe he was the one, like you said, who got one of his 2 laps back. So helpful to him that Craig Forsyth, Jeff Heisung, and the 89 of Nick DeGroot are all back on the lead laps. So yeah, a little bit of craziness here, but we're going to take a second to step away, and we'll be back with the restart in just a few moments. All right, we are back with the action here as, again, we are going to pick back up with our race leader, the 83 of Chris Jabot. He is going to lead us back to the restart, lap number 50 here. Just under halfway, about 12 and a half laps to halfway now. See what Chris can do on this restart, and hopefully he learned from the mistakes of the 15 car, and nobody tries to slide it into the corner on those cold tires. And here we go, 83 down and away, up through the gears, green flag back in the air at Gateway.
Yeah, so what Chris has to do is adjust for the clean air in that number 83 machine. That's the thing is I think that clean air just makes a big difference. And of course, like I said, those cold tires. So we'll keep an eye on him. And also got to mention great recovery for that number 7 of Gary Corley. As I say that he's under attack immediately from Nick DeGroot. No surprise there as I head into 3 and 4. And so far looking good for the leaders here as Nick is around Gary, but we continue to stay pretty much single filed here. But yeah, so those that pitted though at 47 though, including Yari Brupacher, Craig Forsyth, Jeff Heisong, and even Vicente Guerrero pitting at 49. And I ran the numbers here once again, Boomer. And based on what I'm seeing, if they can run 37 laps, they could split this thing in half to the end. So from the restart, if they can go 37 laps, they could make it. So that's going to be what I'm going to be watching for. Is try to see when they hit pit road here. I believe again that would be around lap. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to guess. I'm going to find the number here real quick.
Yeah, definitely better to actually do the math like we hadn't been doing the last couple of weeks. But yeah, so that's really only eligible for those guys that topped off here on this last pit stop. So that includes Yari Brupacher, who's leading the way in that category. Currently P6. Craig Forsyth is in 8th, pitted last lap again on 47, with Jeff Heisong behind him in 9th, as well as Vicente Guerrero. So those are the guys.
Out.
Oh, caution back out on the speedway.
Oh, we got 3 cars involved here. The 36, unfortunately, is one of them. And then who are the other 2 there?
I see CJ Holloman, Eric Peterson, Dylan Macintosh, and Jim Brooks. So we'll take it back here to the point of caution, try and get a good view of that on replay. Apologies if we missed it while I was live, but we'll get a chance to replay it here.
I think it starts around CJ Holloman, Jim Brooks in turn 3. Try to get a better look to see where it officially happens.
It's interesting that the yellow flag was focusing on Chris Matthews here.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't involving Chris. And yeah, unfortunately, I think Jim gets in the back of CJ, which then collects
We'll pull 36. That replay up. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jim here. See if we can get a better view. Here we go. Jim getting in the back, you said, of, yep. Just getting to the gas a little bit sooner. And
yeah, the other thing I noticed is I think
nowhere for Eric Peterson to go.
Yeah, and then there's one more that pops in at the very, very end. Again, it's like I said, the track just kind of fills up there. You see that orange and blue car.
4-tire slide, nothing to do. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and then Eric goes up for a ride there. And yeah, so one thing I did notice was I believe one of those cars may have just touched the rumble strips a little bit, which would have kind of upset the car. Probably had to stay out of the throttle. But yeah, very, very tough break for those guys, but puts us back under the yellow. And what this does once again here, Boomers, we've now got 4 drivers that stayed out, including Yari Brupacher, and then from Nick DeGroot on back, all of them hitting pit road. I think these guys said, you know what, this is pretty much our number to make it to the end. So Nick's going to be first out of pit road, like you mentioned, right around halfway point here at 56, just about getting there. So I think from here, these guys definitely feel they can do it on one more stop. So let's, you know what we got to do, though? We got to put someone's nose to the fire here, and that's going to be the number 92 of Chris Matthews, because right now he is running P2 here, Boomer. So let's pull Chris in here, because Chris, I don't know if this was part of your game plan here. I know in previous races you kind of just like to sit in the back and cruise, and you've been kind of thrust into the spotlight here. Now I'm watching you and Chris Chabot here actually rolling onto pit road here. Is this a pit fuel strategy, or is this I don't know if I want to be controlling this race right now?
I think we both realized that the strategy that was taken was not the smartest one. So better to play it safe and try to live for another day than to wreck half the field.
Definitely been an exciting race so far with a lot of action. You really have kept your nose clean to be able to be up in second place just before pitting there. But how, from your perspective, how has tonight been going so far?
It's wild being in these cars for basically not really having any time in it at all. The race seems to be pretty good. People are starting to find lines once we had that long green flag run. But it was definitely fun for the little bit of time that we've been running for the last little bit. It's going to be a little hard now that we're back in the back, but just taking our time here has been pretty nice.
Yeah, so I mean, so obviously these cars, big adjustments you can make on with the weight jacker, the ARBs, and all those things. Is that something you've been messing with over the course of tonight's race, or is it just kind of one of those you found something you liked and kind of just set and forget and just kind of focus on your track and focus on the track in your car and kind of that clean air, if you will?
So it's been a little bit of both. I think once it's single file, you're kind of set in your ways. You can only you change one or two adjustments. But once you got a pack of guys in front of you and everyone's kind of trying to race each other, it's almost being too task saturated. Where I'm just hitting all sorts of buttons to try to get the car a little bit freer, a little bit looser, even tighter in some corners. And then with the track being two completely opposite ends, it's even more task saturating. So having to figure all that out is very difficult, but it's fun nonetheless.
Yeah, doing a good job of it so far for your first time in the car. Definitely been fun to watch you tonight, and we always appreciate everyone from GWC who hops in the car from now and again. Obviously, I don't have the experience in an Indy car to have the guts to do this, and well, I guess you didn't either. But thanks for signing up to do this and being our in-race reporter tonight, Chris.
I figured, just having the respect of watching these guys and having the privilege of watching these guys week in and week out, I figured I'd give it a shot, see what it's like. It's just as daunting as I thought it was going to be, but still fun. I think that's the main thing, is that this is constantly fun, whether you're running all the way in the back or kind of up front during pace laps.
All right, man. We'll let you get back to it. Say we see the lights are out, the pace car hitting 3. So good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll get that top 3 interview with him, man. Good luck.
All right, take care.
All right, we will jump back up to our leader in the 49. It's actually Jari Brubacher who is going to assume the lead. We mentioned he was the one who pitted he was the first one to pit on that last caution, I should say, and now inheriting the lead after Chris decided to hit pit road, and down and away we go. Green flag in the air. The 49 going to try and break the draft here on the restart. Gets a good jump over Joseph Morales in that 60, but that number 89 in the third position now working really hard. Now in the second position on the outside of Joseph Morales is going to be pretty quick to try and run him down. So Yari's going to try and hold on as long as he can to keep this lead for as long as possible.
Yeah, so basically an 8-lap difference on when they pitted. 55 for Nick DeGroot, 47 for Jari Brubacher, but a lot of caution in between. So I don't feel too worried yet about Yari's fuel mileage. I think he can still make it happen to the end. But yeah, we're definitely going to see some drivers start to hustle their way back up towards the front. We see Craig Forsyth trying to get around William Gunn, unable to do so. They're just a few spots back. And again, once again, bringing, look at these guys, Gary, Corley, Jeff Heisong right back into the mix as well. So let's say they're wasting no time to get racy to try to get that track position back once more. So definitely, I'd say a little bit of a break there with some yellows in the middle, but I think these guys are getting ready to get racy once more here. As I said, actually caution is out, and just saw William Gunn in the 14 caught up on that one. I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll have to go back and look. But unfortunately, that's a big hit for that 14.
I'm gonna watch it here. Catching back up with him coming across the start-finish line. Might have got a little upset into turn number 1 potentially, but we'll see here. Or see him into the braking zone into turn number 1. Starts to dive into the corner, and does he just gets loose on entry? Yep.
Yeah,
okay, that's what I thought. But yeah, out. Yep, back steps out right in front of Craig. Here. Wow, I don't think they touched.
I think Craig able to make a sharp left and just get by there. So unfortunately, quick yellow there.
I'm gonna rewind that real quick and see if we can watch that from the perspective of Craig Forsyth. Nice little camera shot here that we can get. See the 14 there getting in pretty hot. Just didn't get it settled down, or wow.
Oh, that is close.
Man, it's tough because you can't do much. You really can't turn the car much without spinning it out yourself, but Craig got to the rumble strips about as far as you really can safely go, and wow, crazy.
Well, saying while we have him for a second, I'll say let's hear from the driver's mouth. Let's pull Craig Forsyth in here, Boomer, because how close was it for you, Craig? Because it felt really tight for us, and you were just able to squeak underneath it. Look like of that number 14 machine. I mean, is that one of those? Obviously, you're going to stay up for track position, but if you had the option, is that one of those 4 tires and a new pair of shorts?
Yeah, sadly, it took an X for it. Took a 2X. No, from what we can see, it doesn't look like it's damaged. Jeff's looked at it. He doesn't think it's damaged. It looks like it's in the right angle, so we're just going to go. We're not coming in, that's for sure.
Yeah, for what it's worth here on the broadcast, looks like a net code 2x there for you. The car looks good on our end, but obviously take your other driver's word for it. But yeah, man, having a good race so far. Obviously, kind of got trapped on that pit cycle there towards the beginning, but starting to make your way back up through the field now. P number 4. What do you think it's going to take to get a top 3 tonight?
Well, it was a gamble I was willing to take that gamble early enough that I knew I could make up for it if yellows did happen. I mean, this is a track that often has yellows on the pit cycle, so I knew it was dangerous to do, but I figured it was the only way I could jump Jeff legitimately, because he seemed to have the speed and I couldn't pass him. I don't know what I'm going to have to do here. I'm probably some other pit magic here to get by Joseph. And Nick seems to be able to pull away whenever he wants to. So we're just going to try and throw a rope out and hook onto his rear wing, and maybe we can slow him down.
All right, we'll let you go get that rope ready, get back up there with your teammates. So good luck the rest of the way, Craig. Like I said, it's been an eventful one so far, but still got plenty of time to go. Still one pit stop to go as well. So I look forward to seeing what you can do with these guys.
You betcha, guys.
All right, Boomer. So yeah, so once again, we have a few takers on pit road once more. Chris Jabot, Chris Matthews, they decided, you know what, what's one more time? We're going to hit pit road. Also, William Gunn able to get on and off pit road. He's going to hang on to lead lap. So a great break for that 14 car to be still in the running here as well. Vicente Guerrero as well, still in the running in the top 10. And unfortunately, that's where the attrition begins. You got Dylan Macintosh sitting in the 11th spot, 4 laps down. And then, unfortunately, from Eric Peterson on back, these guys are done for the evening, it looks like, including CJ Holloman, Jim Brooks, Luis Gonzalez, and Matt Wagner. So, again, very, very just tough one tonight. This track is very unforgiving, as these drivers have quickly found out. So, we're going to get the one to go here, though, and we're going to restart this thing with 60 laps to go. So, yeah, I think all these guys can make it to the end of one more stop now with these yellows without question. So now it's just going to be that who blinks first to hit pit road. Again, you got that undercut, overcut strategies, but the risk of that pit road miscue that we saw already on that first attempt.
Yeah, we mentioned that, the first 3 guys that came down were Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth, and Jeff Heisong at the beginning of the race. Obviously got trapped a lap down during the caution, that pit cycle there. So unfortunately for them, put them towards the back, but they have made their way back to the front. Right now, doing that again, I don't think that you are going to make up from that. Those guys have really been the fastest 3 out on the track all night long. Obviously some other attrition going on to help them get back up to the front, but really been the class of the field. So it'll be interesting to see with Jari Brupacher and Joseph Morales being the ones who pit the longest time ago. They may have to be the ones who pit the first onto the cycle, and if we did get a yellow, it might ruin their nights. But a good night so far for the 49 of Jari Brupacher, as he's going to lead us back under green. A good jump as he gets back onto the gas, up through the gears into turn number 1. Currently leading Nick DeGroot, Joseph Morales, Craig Forsyth, and Jeff Heisong, your top 5. Again, as Gael mentioned, just over halfway to go. So what do you think it's going to take here, Gael, for the rest of this race here? Do you think it's going to come down to pit strategy or fuel strategy, or do you think it's going to be waiting out and not being either A, the cause of the caution, or not having to pit before the caution?
Well, I'll say right now, it's just hanging on to these cars, because that was a bobble for Jari Brupacher out of turn number 3 and 4, but he's able to gather back up, and he's going to go right back after Nick DeGroot. Love the aggression out of Jari here, and this is that risk versus reward for Nick. I mean, again, he's our championship leader. How hard do you want to push here? So Jari hasn't had the season he's been wanting to, so he wants a win in that number 49 car, but it looks like Nick's going to stay aggressive, and he's going to hold that top spot. As also got to mention, Craig Forsyth has snuck around Joseph Morales, so like I said, he's going to get that rope handy and try to tag it onto the back of that 89. But for pit strategy tonight and to win this race, I think you go as long as you can and just try to, I think you hope for that caution to trap your competition a lap or more down. So that's where if I'm Chris Matthews, Chris Jabot, William Gunn, Vicente Guerrero, I just run this thing as long as I can, try to keep these guys basically, if I can keep them a lap down as long as I can, that's my goal here tonight. So we'll see if it comes into play, because again, this field is really thinned out here. So we're down to 10 drivers on the lead lap, 11 still on track. So it's it's still going to be a race the racetrack situation because it's easy to make a mistake even on your own, as we've seen. But obviously, less opportunities now from our 16 starters we had tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a tricky track for sure. It doesn't help. A lot of times in a race like at like maybe Martinsville or Bristol, we've got another yellow flag. This time for Chris Jabot, it looks like.
Oh no! And it looks like another caught up as well. It looks like the 04 Dylan Macintosh.
He'll take it back.
That's a tough break for both of those guys. It's like Chris is gonna try to drive this thing back to pit road, but I will take a look at it.
Coming down, it looks like maybe another tail of getting loose into turn number 1. Try and grab a good camera angle here. Turn number 1 entry here, just a little too hot. Did the same thing that brought out our last yellow that William Gunn did, and unfortunately just kind of slid and stays
identical.
in the gas really hard though versus locking it up early and kind of swings the front of the car back around, whereas William Gunn was able to lock it down. So that's a big impact for Chris Jabot. We'll see if we can watch here, right here. They're just not checking up much for the yellow flag. I'm not sure because I feel like they might have had enough time to get back to that, but hard to say. I'm not in the car, hard to say, but unfortunate contact for Dylan Macintosh as well. Really, tire flying there on the replay. Insult to injury there for Chris Jabot after, that car is destroyed.
What's impressive is he's actually able to limp this thing back to pit road, and I think he's maybe just been able to hustle it back around and stay on the tail in the lead lap as well.
We just watched him come out pit road there. Yeah, it looks like he is going to get back. Wow, what an effort.
Yeah, I mean, and he limped that thing for all he was worth. I'm looking to see, and I don't see any penalties for that number 83, so I think he's good to go. He's actually going to drop back on pit road now. But yeah, I mean, he hustled that thing. I think he had about 3 wheels, if not less, on that number 83 machine. So, really good job for him to get back there. And he's gonna hop back on pit road. Probably just getting tires and fuel now. I think he was able to take all of that off. Just take the fast repair, and that actually saves him that lap. So, great decision there by the 83. Quick thinking to kind of have everything off and able to get down and out right away. And now he's gonna get service done to that machine, and you can see getting the pit stops done. And actually, still sitting there. He goes. Okay, I was waiting to see it was still sitting there, but that was the tires.
He's gonna beat the pace car back off. Yeah. So that first, the last lap he came down, he took his fast repair only and had just enough time to get back out in front of the pace car and stay on the lead lap. Takes a fast repair, and then this lap, that pit stop you just saw, was him taking 4 fresh tires and filling it full of fuel. So he may be fairly close with cautions to maybe have made his last stop of the race. I don't know for sure, because that would probably be 50,
just outside of 50. Yeah, he'll still be short.
Yeah,
but also got to mention that William Gunn, Vicente Guerrero, they actually just are both hitting pit road as well. They're going to put a little bit of fuel in their machines as well. So again, this is really changing the strategy now, because again, we've talked about Nick and Yari and them. Everybody still has to make one more pit. However, Nick and them pitted at 55, 47. Then you go back to Jeff Heisong at 71. Actually, I need to mention, I'm sorry, Jeff actually also put under that yellow. So now Jeff can go, again, it's not apples to apples. It's not going to be 20 laps more, 15 laps more, but he could probably go 5 to 10 at minimum laps further than Nick DeGroot, Yari Brupacher, which means maybe some strategy, maybe a shorter pit stop out of that 18 car. Maybe he tries to do a little bit of jumping in the pit road. So
exactly, yeah, because
it takes a lot of strategy here.
It takes a lot less time to fill less fuel in the car towards the end. So if you need to fill a car for let's say 35 laps versus for 25 laps, you don't have to put as much fuel in for the 25 laps, and you can spend less time on fuel on pit road getting fuel. So that time on the track makes such a huge difference. I mean, 1 second in the pits at pit road speed, maybe a couple, a couple dozen feet, right? 20, 30, 40 feet. On the racetrack, it's, way more than that at speed. So definitely a huge difference to potentially do that. But, I don't know. I'd be really curious to see if Jeff Heisong, William Gunn, and Chris Jabot aren't in the catbird seat, if we do get at least one, maybe two more cautions, I think they would absolutely have enough to save the rest of the way and finish it out. As we actually see Vicente Guerrero came back down on lap 73 to top off as well. So interesting to see, but lights are out, Gael, and we're about ready to go back to green.
Yeah, this time Nick DeGroot's going to be the control car on this restart. So, yeah, we have a big range of pit windows. Joseph Morales pit all the way back at 43, Jari Brubacher 47, and then like you mentioned, then you got to go all the way to 73 for Vicente. So, I mean, you've got a 70-lap swing. Again, we've kind of hit a little bit of a stretch here with a number of yellows all in a row. Again, I think that's just, again, how difficult this track has been for drivers. I mean, we've seen obviously some contact with one another, but then we've also seen some miscues. Nick gets back on the throttle, and a great start. There's Yari's actually going to lose a lot of momentum here. That's going to open up the door for Craig Forsyth. A great opportunity for Craig here, but can he complete the pass? And the answer is no. He has to lose that momentum on the exit. As Gary Corley actually gets around, it looks like that number 60 of Joseph Morales. And look at Chris Matthews. He's right back at it. I say he was talking about getting to the back where he felt safer, but he is getting racy once he got that opportunity. And then number 92 back into the top 5. And he's got Joseph Morales, Jeff Heisung, who has fresh tires right there as well. So I think for Craig, I think he had to back off there, Boomer, because again, that passing below passing on the left before the start finish line, I believe would be a black flag. So I think Craig actually probably had to back it down to avoid a penalty out of that 27. So also quick heads up thinking for him, which he's going to hate though, because they have really lost that 89 car now.
Yeah, that 89 car has been the fastest. He just ran the fastest lap of the race last lap, 24.74. So Nick is absolutely checked out, completely gone. So yeah, we'll see how the rest of this race is gonna go. But Craig Forsyth there now getting back around Jari Brubacher after making the smart decision to go back after that restart. Again, you can't pass before the start finish line, either on the outside or on the inside. So smart to not take the penalty, but he is now around the 49, but about a 1.7 second gap to the leader of Nick DeGroot. So we'll see how that goes, and yeah, definitely have to see if we can settle in here. It's been a while since we've had a long green flag run. I think the first one was pretty much the beginning of the race.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody kind of starts off all nice and calm, and then the competitiveness comes out in that second half. Everybody starts to get that little more aggressive. Okay, I found my limits. I'm going to push a little harder, and they just jump over that limit that tiny bit. But I'm watching lap times, Boomer. Last time by, Craig Forsyth 0.2 quicker than Nick DeGroot, a 24.87 to Nick's 25.06. I'm going to watch this time by, and Nick picks up the pace there at 24.84, but Craig goes purple there, fastest lap of the race, 24.68. Wow. Craig is on a charge. He wants to get the draft of that number 89 car, and he's just in touching distance of it, 1.6 seconds. So give him another tenth or two, and he will be there. So Craig trying to leave nothing to chance here. He wants to get back in the toe of that number 89.
Yeah, we've had probably the most strung out field here after a couple laps after a restart just now, as Jari Brubacher just ran a 24.75. So these guys in the top three are absolutely flying right now. DeGroot with a 24.86 last lap, Craig with a 24.92. So I mean, these guys are at least 2 to 3 tenths a second than faster a lap than everyone else on the track right now, though. We do still have Gary Corley here in the top 5 and Joseph Morales in positions 4 and 5 respectively, but good night for those guys, Gary Corley and Joseph Morales. Good to see those guys. Obviously Gary bouncing back a little bit, but good to see him and Joseph making way to the front of the pack. That's a good run for them tonight.
Yeah, it's a great run. Like I said, a great recovery for Gary as well. And the one I'm also watching is, of course, our second place in the points, Jeff Heisung. He's worked his way into 6th position. He's tucked in behind Joseph Morales again. He pitted on lap 71. So, again, he's right now the one that's kind of in the best position on track, that's got the most fuel on board. Not enough to make it to the end, but again, he could probably run at, I would say, roughly maybe 10 more laps possibly than Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth. And I was saying, looking at lap times, looks like Nick's kind of picked that pace back up once more, because now it's a 24.82 for Nick compared to, looks like a 24.97 for Craig, and identical for Jari there as well, another 24.97. So I think Nick's just been able to stretch it just a little bit. Maybe the clean air helping him, or So just able to manage those tires really well. But right now, let's say this is really where everything is pretty much from 5th on back here, because you've got 5th through, it looks like about 8th position within about a second of each of themselves. And also quick work for Chris Chabot as well. After that incident, he's worked his way back up into 8th here, and he's trying to work on one of his buddies, Chris Matthews, here as well. So he sees 3 spots for a position right in front of him, and you know how tempting it is. Once you see it, you want to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. The Chris and Chris show continues throughout the night. Definitely, guys have been really glued to each other at most of this race, most of the points in this race. So we'll have to see if it's Chris with a CH or Chris with a K who settles the debate on how to spell the name. But having fun watching these two guys battle out, and I mean a valiant effort so far for, like we mentioned, two guys that aren't very familiar with these Indy cars, and maybe get pressured by some broadcasters here at Green White Checker TV to join us so we could watch some race.
Yeah, so it's always fun to have, and as I know, one of Chris's, or I should say Chris with a K, one of his biggest supporters is his mom. Loves to watch a lot of his races, so not sure if she's watching his tonight, but if so, hope you're having a good evening watching your son race. So he is doing a great job as always, and so I'm sure even more than that, she enjoys all the cat pictures that she gets to get from his 2 little fur balls. So I love those two. Seeing the pictures he's got, that's always it's funny watching the way they've kind of bonded with each other over the couple of months. So. It's a lot of fun. But back to racing though, Nick DeGroot's still stretching out a couple tenths a lap or so. Again, he's still one of the few drivers still in 25s. Everybody else down into the 24-second bracket here. So we'll have to keep an eye and see how the lap times look. But I'm thinking right now though, I think it's just going to be that cat and mouse game. But even with the shorter pit stop though, potential Boomer, I think Nick's kind of built too big of a lead. I think even with taking tires and fuel, he'd still be able to come out on top. I think that the one thing that could change everything, which again, knock on wood and all those things, I don't want to be the one to jinx it, but a caution in the middle of the pit cycle, I think, is what could change the outcome of this race as they run.
Yeah, for sure. And if that does happen, we did mention Jari Brupacher was the one who pitted first, or the longest time ago, I should say, back at lap 47 now. So it's been quite a ways, but obviously we've had quite a few caution laps in between there. So no worries from him to be able to stretch it to the end of this race, but he would have the least amount of fuel left in the top 3 to be able to go further into this race. So if a caution did come out during the pit cycle, it would be likely to be unfortunate for Jari, as well as Joseph Morales, who last pitted on lap 43, who again, albeit while that was almost 50 laps ago now, would have enough to make it on one more stop, just about as the rest of the field will. But definitely going to have to, would potentially be caught a lap down if anything were to happen from anyone trying to get onto the pit road after them. But we do actually see one driver in the pits right now, and that's Dylan Macintosh. Looks like he might have actually made some contact. I apologize. He might have been there. That
was the incident with Chris, okay. I believe. Yeah.
I just looked up. I saw someone in pit road and thought it was something to call, so my apologies. But Nick DeGroot, jumping back here to him. I mean, 2.2 second lead, consistently a tenth to 2 tenths faster than Craig Forsyth and Jari Brubacher, who you can just see in the view here. Definitely looking to be sitting in the catbird seat right now.
Yeah, we have our first green flag pit stop. That's going to be Joseph Morales, which is what we expected, and with him pitting at lap number 43, which means Jari probably not too far away as well. So he rolls through and he hits pit road. And that's going to be the first taker onto pit road when that window open. So now say our eyes would be pretty much set on Jari to be the next to hit pit road. And then from there, like I said, then it would go to Nick and Craig and Gary. And then we get to those ones that pitted way later, like Jeff Heisong and Chris Chabot and such. So it's going to be fun to see. I'm really curious about Jeff Heisong. Yeah, here, as I just heard Jari call it out, Yari's going to hit pit road this time as well. So pretty much a 2-lap difference between those guys. So the window's opening us, and this for Jari, of course, is where he gets a little nervous, because not to harp on it, but obviously a little mistake earlier. Hopefully he made the adjustments he needs to hit pit road. And yeah, you can just see how sketchy it is there, but he looks like he's going to be able to get that entry taken care of. But now you got to kind of brake while turning to hit that pit lane speed limiter. Looks like job well done for Jari there also. So that now leaves the top 3 left are still going to pit here pretty shortly.
Yeah, for sure. You saw that that little bit of a lockup there at the end. That yellow cone there is actually where pit road speed begins, just inside the pit wall after it goes back to the straightaway there. So you can take advantage of that as much as possible. But obviously, as you mentioned, Yari was a little bit loose there earlier on his pit stop under green before, but thankfully he is up and away without an issue this time. Nick de Groot in this time. See how he makes his way onto pit road. And you'll see here, trying to get as much as he can before he has to slow down. Right there is where pit speed actually starts. Behind him will be Craig Forsyth. So Craig is monkey see, monkey do. Looks like he gained a little bit there. It's only about a second or so behind Nick de Groot. So trying to close that gap just a little bit. Obviously, this gap would look bigger on the racetrack. As we mentioned, it's a bigger gap at speed. But Craig trying to do everything he can on this pit entry and exit to try and bridge that gap to the 89.
Yeah, now it's all about trying to get on and off pit road through your pit stall as quick as you can. Yeah, there goes Nick, hits the cone, he's away, and there goes Craig, he's away. But very treacherous pit exit now. These guys got to be careful not to get too greedy on the throttle because it's very easy to snap on the exit as well. And so far, Nick's able to get through, Craig's able to get through. So far, so good. I see one hitting pit road once again here, trying to tell which driver that is. I think it's Gary Corley.
Corley, yep. We'll pick him up. Looks like he is a little slow on his pit entry, but that's okay. Nice and controlled.
Taking no risks.
Yeah, absolutely. No risk.
Brubacher around. Caution is out.
Oh, no.
Oh, and he just catches Joseph Morales there in the corner. So Joseph around.
We're going to jump back.
Sorry, not Joseph Morales. I'm sorry. That was Vicente Guerrero that I believe got caught a piece of that one. And this is exactly what I was afraid of, Boomer. This changes everything here because now the question is, like you said, this is an interesting situation now, Boomer. So as I see, have the replay pulled up, and then say you can see Yari entering 3, and surprisingly, just snaps out around. We saw it in turn 1 earlier with 2 of the drivers. Now in 3, you can see Matt Wagner just making some laps. He sneaks by, but then you'll see another bright green car come in the background here.
And that window on the inside's closing.
Yeah, and you'll see Vicente here. He's going to try, and just gets caught in the right rear there. But yeah, a tough break for Vicente. I think he's got some suspension damage there as well. But what I was about to mention, though, here is the strategy. Is it worth trying to stay out here and keep these lap drivers a lap down or not? Because actually, the answer is no. They're all hitting pit road now.
I don't think you can because you've got to pit at least once more. There's no way because, Jeff Heisong would have had to go 54 laps on this last tank of fuel. And I don't know. For him, I think it's better because he'll still cycle out to be the leader, I would believe, with the guys trapped a lap down. So we do see a lot of guys coming down to pit road. Jeff Heisong inherits the lead after everyone else has pitted in front of him. So he is actually going to get a very lucky break here, as well as Chris Matthews and Chris Jabot. They're probably going to come out and be our top 3, I believe, because it's going to actually trap Nick de Groot, Craig Forsyth, Joseph Morales, and Yari Brubacher a lap down there. So they are going to be the caution's going to benefit them the most. I apologize, words are hard, but it does actually look like Chris Matthews is actually going to get back out onto the track first. He is actually going to inherit the lead of this race with 24 to go.
Yeah, our new leader here, the number 92, Chris Matthews, Chris Jabot right behind him as well. So great job by those two. Unfortunately, a little bit of a miscue, not sure for Jeff Heisong. Looking at his pit lane time, it was 40.25 for Chris Matthews, 40.20 for Chris Jabot, 42.75 for Jeff Heisong. So about 2 seconds longer. Maybe either overshot his pit stall a little bit or not sure what happened. But unfortunately, that miscue going to drop him a couple of spots. So that's going to be a heartbreaker for Jeff here. Obviously, he's going to have the bit between his teeth here to try to chase these guys back down and get the lead back. And same thing's going to go for Nick de Groot and company here, which trying to see who the lucky dog was at the time of that yellow, because I'm not sure who may have officially got it. Actually, I don't think it was Yari.
Well, I think Yari might have been in position, but because he was in the caution, or the reason for the caution, he didn't get it. Is that the case? I think that might be true, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, at this point though, all fuel numbers, all that's all out the window. These guys can all make it to the end.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm curious to see who was actually able to get the benefit from all of that. Right now, showing Gary Corley trapped 1 down in that 7 machine. as the first car went down. Then Jari Brupacher also trapped one. So it wasn't Jari. I'm not sure who would have officially got it there.
Would it have been Corley though? Because someone has to get it, obviously. So, or would it have
yeah, that's
been?
what I'm trying to think.
No. So Craig. Oh, actually, I didn't realize.
Oh, no, it's
Craig?
Nick DeGroot. It's Nick DeGroot because Nick's at the tail end of the field here.
Okay.
But Craig is still on the tail ends. So
right.
that's
So
yeah.
Craig,
So
yeah. So Craig, fortunately, you see him scored over a minute and 17 seconds off the pace. He's actually ahead of the leader though. So yeah. So you're right. It was Nick DeGroot who got the lucky dog. Craig Forsyth obviously has made his final pit stop, so he is currently 6th. He is not a lap down once the pace car waves him around. So him and Matt Wagner are going to get a lap back, as well as it looks like Joseph Morales
and I think
Vicente
as well.
Guerrero. Yep, so those guys are all going to get 1 lap back. So that will put Craig Forsyth, Joseph Morales, and Vicente back on the lead lap. And Matt's going to be 1 less lap down.
But I got to look at Matt, though. I mean, remember, he was down in about, I think, last place, 16th position. He has jumped all the way to 12th now, but sticking it out and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to run some laps here. And, I mean, he's gained a lot of points here, a lot of positions. So, I mean, there's something to be said about being persistent. So I like what that 6 car was able to do. I don't know if he has enough to get around Dylan Macintosh, so this might be it for Matt. But, yeah, here we go, though, Boomer. We're going to restart this thing. 21 to go. We're good to go on field to the end. And you've got our newbies here, Chris Matthews, Chris Jabot, going to lead the field over our runner-up in points, Jeff Heisong. And then you got William Gunn, and then our championship leader there, Nick DeGroot, in 5th. This is going to be interesting. Again, they got to hopefully adjust for the clean air for the they're going to extend the caution actually one more time here, trying to get everything situated here, looks like, which will mean we'll restart this thing with 20 to go now. But, yeah, so – man, this is going to be very, very interesting here how this is all going to shake out. So I honestly don't know. I am not going to pull Chris Matthews back in right now because I have a feeling his heart is through his throat right now.
I thought about it as well, but it's definitely let them focus and let them ride it out. So, so Chris and Chris at the front of the field, they've really been 2 peas in a pod all race long. They are sitting here now 1st and 2nd after inheriting some good luck from that late caution. Jeff Heisong also inheriting that good luck, but unfortunately made mistakes on pit road and let the Chris and Chris show get in front of him. So that'll put him just in front of William Gunn, who's now sitting P4, also a beneficiary of that caution as well, who had not pitted yet. And our first driver who pitted just before the caution would be Nick DeGroot back in 5th position. So he's followed quickly by Craig Forsyth. Those two have really been the fastest guys on the track most of, if not all of tonight. Joseph Morales will be just behind them, and Vicente Guerrero will be behind them as well in 8th place. For all of our drivers currently on the lead lap, Jari Brupacher and Gary Corley will be 1 lap down, but it will be 20 laps to go as we see the green flag in the air ready to be waved for the number 92 machine of Chris Matthews. On the gas, up through the gears, down and away down the front stretch. He's going to get a good jump over the other Chris with a K, Chris Jabot, and not quite as good of a jump as we've seen in the past, but 20 laps to go. It's pretty much a shootout from here.
Yeah, 20 lap shootout here to the end, and Nick DeGroot already under attack here from Craig Forsyth from the 7 as well of Gary Corley. As you see, there's those 2 that took the wave around. They are side by side. Craig's actually going to get the point here. As there's Nick trying to cross him over. These guys aren't done here. They are going to battle after here, but Craig's going to hang on to it for that 5th position. And then up front, Chris Matthews is able to hold the lead. Chris Jabot has been passed by Jeff Heisong. Move Jeff now up into 2nd. Again, Jeff's going to want to try to remedy that pit road miscue and get to the front here as these guys are getting a little wobbly. I think they're driving these things as hard as they can. As here comes also Jari Brupacher trying to get around William Gunn. Again, Jari is 1 down here, but he's trying to keep Gary Corley behind him. So you get that mix of lap cars, lead lap cars, and it gets all that much more dicey. So we're getting to it, though. These laps will click by quickly here as we're going to come around 17 to go next time.
Yeah, so this is definitely a big advantage, again, for Jeff Heisong, able to make quick work of Chris Jabot up to the runner-up position. He's only 1 spot away from his qualifying position of P1 tonight. Chris Matthews up 12 spots, leading the race currently. Chris Jabot, we mentioned, in third already, or back to third now, up 12 spots as well. So we'll have to see. As of right now, this could be good for Jeff Heisong if Nick DeGroot is caught back there in the action. He is currently 4 spots ahead of Nick DeGroot, which is definitely helpful in championship standings, as Nick has really been the class of the field so far. So we're going to see if this 89 machine has anything left to try and make a charge toward the front, as we do actually see Craig Forsyth getting around William Gunn and the lap car of Jari Brupacher. So promote Craig to the 4th position with 16 laps to go. They are definitely 2 of the fastest cars out on the track still, as we see this last lap by Craig Forsyth running a 25 flat. Craig Forsyth a 25 flat. Chris Jabot actually a 24.99, and then everyone else behind them quite a bit slower. So this top 4 with the cleaner air at the front of the pack is definitely making very, very quick work of these 15 laps to go.
Yeah, no, Craig is on a tear right now. He's been able to separate himself from Nick DeGroot as well, so this is big for Craig. He's able to get a little bit of fresh air on that car. But yeah, it's all closing up front, though, because you can see Jeff Heisong, he's closed up on Chris Matthews, and then Chris Jabot starting to close back up on Jeff Heisong as well. So these guys are all starting to accordion back together here as we're going to come around to 13 to go. And it's anybody's guess. I say this is where Jeff's going to feel like, okay, I got the experience with these cars. I know the adjustments I need to make. I say Chris is going to be one of those ones like, oh, so a little loose there for that 92 on the entry of 1 and 2, hangs on to it, but you can see lost a lot of momentum. And here comes Jeff Heisong. He's going to try to take a look, I think, entering 3.
Yeah, he tried to take a look entering 1, but just wasn't there. And now he's there. He's on the inside. He's going to try and slide job the 92. Not quite. He's going to just barely get in front of him. Looks like. No, he's going to give him the room. Very kindly and graciously, the 18 lets the 92 back to his outside, so they're going to enter side by side into turn number 1. Both of them are going to have mostly clean air, as it looks like the 92 gets a little bit tight, has to back out of it, but he's going to be joined by his other friend, Chris Jabot here, who is trying to continue to battle for this podium place tonight. Jeff Heisong promoted to the 1st position, but we do see the 27 of Craig Forsyth now closing in on this podium spot. He wants a piece of this action to try and get back up to this podium placings where he was running towards the beginning of the race.
Yeah, exactly right. Craig has got these guys, and the more they fight, the better chance Craig has of trying to leapfrog them. But you kind of get into that draft train, it makes it tough to pass on the straightaways, and that's why it was so important for Jeff to do what he did there to get around Chris Matthews. But you can see, though, he got around him, but he has not left him yet. So all not done for that number 18 as here comes Craig Forsyth. He's going to take a look underneath Chris Jabot entering 1. Again, we've seen the inside line is shorter, but the momentum shifts to the outside, but Craig able to do both. And here comes Chris going to try to cross him over. Not quite. Has to fall back in line. As Chris Matthews, though, he's working on the lead here.
Yeah, you could tell the 83 there just got a little bit tight off the corner and just couldn't quite make the crossover work, but that will promote Craig Forsyth now to the podium placings with Chris Matthews and Jeff Heisong just ahead of him. So Chris Matthews still battling really hard with the 18 of Jeff Heisong here, not really able to let him get away, but as you mentioned, it's going to bode well for Craig Forsyth, who's trying to jump back up there and try and give it his shot at this now not just a podium placing, but maybe a runner-up or a potentially win for the evening.
Yeah, I think Chris is playing a little bit of poker with us here because, look at him working the outside here.
Look at that run on the outside. He's going to make it stick. It looks like he's going to have the advantage down into 3. See if he can make it stick around the outside, get that pass made on the 18, but there comes 27 now, just close. They've been battling hard, and Craig Forsyth actually 0.3 of a second faster than either of the guys in front of him that last lap because of that battle.
This is amazing. Yeah, Craig is right there. Chris Jabot is right back in the mix as well. These guys are going tooth and nail. Again, Chris is really working the top side so well over Jeff Heisong, but he has to be careful because if he gives up too much space, that's going to happen right there as Craig Forsyth is going to take the inside line away.
Oh, he gets a little
momentum.
Yep, a little bit of aero wash, a little bit of aero tight, and he's not going to make the pass stick, but he's going to have to try and get a little bit more momentum going back. And you know who's really loving this is the 18 of Jeff Heisong. Now with 6 laps to go, he's inheriting the lead, and he's enjoying watching the guys in his mirror now race each other. And hopefully that might let him get away, as he was about 1/10 of a second faster than Chris Matthews and Craig Forsyth behind him. So Jeff Heisong hoping to check out here, as he is now currently about 0.4 of a second ahead of this second place battle.
Yeah, they're gonna have to regroup for another lap or so. And like I said, the more that Craig and Chris fight, the happier Jeff is gonna be. But man, Chris has found something in that second lane through 1 and 2. He builds so much momentum on the exit. It's made a big difference. But like I said, right now, seems like they've kind of settled in a little bit. I wonder if those tires have just gotten a little bit too much heat in them. Maybe just getting the tires aren't able to offset the aero wash, if you will. But Craig is right there in the gearbox of that 92, entering turn number 1. We'll see. Craig's gonna take a look. But again, the momentum shift to the outside is going to go back to the 93, it looks like. And here comes Chris Jabot ready to try to pounce on Craig as well.
Yeah, Chris is not out of this battle by any means, but the one who kind of is Jeff Heisong in the 18, who has checked out. You see him there at the bottom of the screen here. He is going to have about a 0.6 of a second lap, a gap back to the drivers behind him, as he's loving, again, every bit of what he's seeing in his mirror, just checked out, focused, and moving forward. But it's still going to be a big battle here for this last 2 spots in the podium placings, as we're going to come back around this time with 2 laps to go. So Jeff Heisong still trying to pad his points gap back to Nick DeGroot in the standings. He's currently second in the standings, but Nick DeGroot is currently in 6th place, so that'll be 5 positions ahead of Nick DeGroot if they can finish this way, and a big, maybe a little bit of a swing in the points for Jeff Heisong to make up that gap in the championship.
Yeah, you see right there, Chris, he's committed to that top side. He does not want to let Craig have the outside, but look at that. Craig sends it into turn number 3. He's going to try to do the crossover he can. No, Craig's going to hang on to that spot. Great move coming to the white for Craig Forsyth. But right now, they're still trying to chase Jeff Heisman. Unfortunately, he's having some connectivity issues just to make matters all the more dramatic for him. So now he's hoping that connection stays alive for at least a half a lap more, because otherwise he's going to be heartbroken. We've got a good battle for the podium between Chris Matthews, Chris Jabot there as well. But right now, looks like connection settled back in here as they come across the line here, Boomer. It's going to be Jeff Heisong getting the win over Craig Forsyth. And then Chris Matthews going to hold off Chris Jabot. William Gunn going to bring it home in the top 5. My goodness, what a battle at the end there with these guys. And a great recovery drive by Craig.
Yeah, I mean, for Craig and for Jeff, way to hold on towards the end there. I mean, that was everything that Jeff needed to do here in this championship battle to try and get back in it with Nick DeGroot. Definitely a little surprised. Nick DeGroot, I know he's mentioned before that short tracks aren't always his strong suit, but wasn't even able to get around William Gunn on that final restart, as Craig, who started just in front of him, was able to rock it up through the field. So definitely interesting to see for sure. But Jeff Heisong, the winner for the evening, going to be a big win, his first of the year, and as we mentioned, going to get 5 places in points over Nick DeGroot, who finished in 6th place. So definitely helpful to him in this championship battle.
Yeah, great result as you saw the fireworks going off as he celebrates here on the front stretch. Well-earned finish there. Well-earned win for Jeff. And you're right, importantly, gaining position on the points on Nick DeGroot, because, yeah, not sure what happened to Nick. There may be some lingering damage that we're not aware of or what, but, yeah, tough one for Nick there at the end. Didn't get the result he was looking for. But, yeah, I mean, just great battling at the end there between Jeff and Chris Matthews, and then Chris and Craig. Chris and Chris. I mean, it was a very, very exciting ending to the race there. Those guys are, like I said, fighting tooth and nail, but giving each other just enough room to kind of keep that fight going, keeping it clean and aggressive, though. It's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to take a second here to get organized, but we will have some interviews in just a moment for the top 3 positions tonight. Going to be exciting to hear a bit of a mixed bag of results for those drivers. So definitely going to be exciting to hear from them here, as I think the first one to be pulled up is going to be the number 92 of Chris Matthews. We'll pull him up here on the screen, and we'll help have him pull up in the booth. But yeah, I mean, a great battle tonight for you, Chris. We mentioned, talked to her earlier in the race. Not something that you were necessarily expecting to do well in tonight, but just having fun with it. And man, a beautiful podium for you tonight.
I'm going to be honest. Didn't think that was in the cards. I thought I'd be up in the booth or already changing the race suit, before lap 10. So, very fortunate to come away with a podium finish. I didn't foresee myself doing that, but I had fun the whole way. I didn't took me a long time to get dialed into the car, but eventually got it, and I was trying to do something.
Well, I mean, you were doing something all right. I mean, you had the lead there. You're holding off Chris. You're holding off Jeff for a while. And then Jeff gets by you. But, I mean, then you're right back after him there. And it seemed like you found something towards the end, running that second lane there in 1 and 2. Just so much momentum you're able to keep on that top side. And you had a couple of great battles with trying to get back around Jeff. And then you held Craig at bay for a while, too. And, I mean, I'd say, and again, for this being your first race over here with these guys, to kind of be battling with two of the top-notch drivers in the league again. Right now, Jeff and Nick DeGroot, the only winners so far this season, and then Craig Forsyth, just one of the perennial front runners. I mean, you were at it full tilt with the biggest hitters from lap 1 there. It was a really, really impressive show. I was telling Boomer, I was like, I think you may have been playing a little bit of poker with us. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to roll in the back and take it easy. And then you just go after it full tilt there and bring home a podium to kick off your first race here tonight.
Oh, definitely. I was messing with a lot of the weight jackers and the ARBs, and still not sure what each thing does. But just being in the back and having a little chance during that first green flag run, I was able to just mess with things and do each lap, and I almost hit the wall a couple times. But just after figuring out what to do and your positioning of where the cars are at, it really is just a chess game. Of now I'm 0.2 behind this guy, or there's a guy behind me that's catching me, so you have to really just change that up, and you're just very task saturated. I think I was telling you guys earlier than that, but to do all that and then to come away with a podium finish was pretty exciting. So I feel very confident in this car after this race.
Yeah, definitely exciting to watch you for sure. Always good to have someone in the race for the broadcast to to get to talk to, and absolutely excited to see you back up here for an interview. So may have settled the debate on how to spell the name Chris. Obviously, just beating out Chris Jabot with a K. So maybe the CH spelling is the better way to go. But yeah, I mean, you guys kind of bounced back, got lucky at the end there with that late yellow, and really put you and Chris in front of Jeff there to stay up and try to compete for that win. But man, it had to be fun watching you out there.
Oh, definitely. A little bit of the strategy of fuel and saving was coming into play, and just trying to wait for a caution, which just so happened to fall in our favor, me and Jabot. But just be able to get in front of some of the guys like Jeff Heisong and Nick and Craig and some of these guys to run up top was definitely in my favor. And I was pretty scared to start the restart, that last restart, but to be able to do that and then keep the guys behind me, and eventually they got by me, and I kind of got to see where I was definitely lacking in racecraft was once they got by me, and I definitely got sniped on the last one. I wasn't even looking at that one, so that was a good one on Craig, so shout outs to him.
Yeah, definitely a great battle for sure, but you've definitely earned it. Obviously, a lucky break towards the end, but you kept your nose clean all race long, and had it fall your way at the end to compete for the win, and eventually got a podium. So big congrats to you, Chris, and I want to give you a chance to give any thanks and shout outs that you'd like to give for tonight's podium placing.
Yeah, my shout outs go to you guys. I'm usually, up there with y'all, shoulder to shoulder. So, it's nice to be down here on the track, but I think I feel more comfortable up there. Shout outs to you guys. Shout outs to Pelletier McQuestion Simulations, PMS. Those are my boys. Other than that, man, it's just been fun here. I love the league. I'm glad Jim's back. It was fun to see him for a couple of laps. Fun to be, on the ground for a couple of times. But yeah, shout outs to you guys for the most part.
All right, well,
man.
Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead, Kyle.
I'd say no, just a great job though, Chris, tonight. And yeah, definitely go enjoy this one, man. I'd say probably take a bit of a breather, because I'm sure you were pretty much white knuckling it there towards the end. Boomer, I kind of made that conscious decision. Like, yeah, let's not pull Chris up here before that late restart on the lead, because I think we're gonna let him focus. So, just awesome job tonight, man.
All right, you guys take care.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we deserve a little bit of the credit for that by not interrupting him late in the race to give him the time to think, and so maybe we do get a little bit of a credit for that third place finish tonight. But finishing second is that number 27 machine now you see on your screen. That's Craig Forsyth. Got a chance to interview you as well in the middle of the race, which was a lot of fun. appreciated your insight there, and want to hear your insight now to how the end of that race went, because, man, you were on a tear for those last 10 laps or so.
I'm exhausted. That was that last pit stop was very ill-timed, that's for sure. And then it was just I got battled to get past Nick, and then worked my way up, and holy cow, Chris gave me a hell of a battle for lap after lap to try and get past him, and good on him for that. And that just didn't leave me enough laps to creep up on Jeff there. Took home the win.
Yeah, and I was saying, and like I said, the timing of the cautions, I think, was kind of the name of the game tonight. Twice you had to work your way back from the back to the front there. Obviously showed that you had a lot of kind of just adjustability with what you learned over practice to be able to kind of go through traffic and make those moves there. But yeah, obviously turn 1 and 2, definitely we saw there was something able to be found there working the second lane by Chris. On that top side, you could get there, but you just couldn't get the momentum on the exit there, and he'd sneak back by you. But then, yeah, he mentioned, so you kind of sniped him. He says entering turn 3. I mean, you sent it in there, and that thing stuck. And then, like you said, I think if you had a few more laps there, you'd have definitely been giving Jeff a run for his money on this one. But with everything said and done, I mean, for everything you had to go through to even get back up into that position, I'm guessing that still feels like a pretty good result there with all things considered.
Oh heck yeah! After on the last caution, I didn't think we were getting back up to the front. It was not enough laps and too many good cars in front of me. So I'm happy to be on the podium. That's for sure. It was I set up that last pass on Chris there. I set that up going into 1. I backed off so I'd have more pace going down the back straight. And I wish I'd done that 8 laps earlier, because it worked better than I expected it to.
Yeah, definitely have to time it quite well. We mentioned saw a lot of drivers get a run in an inopportune time, kind of at the end of the straightaway when they couldn't pull alongside and make something happen. But you were able to make it work there and make it stick. Come home with second place. Definitely exciting for sure. I mean, I think that was 2 cautions, I believe, that you kind of got caught on the the bad side of being trapped a lap down and having to take a wave around, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was both of those pit stops. It's the danger of being near the front and using up all your fuel, is that you're putting yourself in the danger zone. And I'd known on that first one, because we'd had the early caution and a bunch of guys had gone in, I think with like 10 or 12 laps into the race. So I knew that was a big danger zone gap that I was playing with, but I figured there were enough laps to make that one up. I was not confident about that last one at all. So as I said, getting on the podium, all more than happy with that.
Yeah, it was a really good job again tonight, Craig. Obviously, pretty eventful there, especially in the middle. Kind of cautions, kind of rolled for a good section in the middle, and then you obviously a great start at the beginning, and then that big green run you needed at the end, especially to get you back up there. But yeah, just awesome job tonight, man. It was a lot of fun watching you work your way back up through there.
It was a challenging setup. Like, I was changing my weight jacker every corner and changing where I was putting it throughout the race as the fuel was burning out. It was a good challenging setup, and I guess it caught a couple guys out. And I mean the pits here are always slippery. You've got to go super negative and be, I call it tiptoeing. Tiptoeing in is safe, and anything more than that, and you're risking a caution.
Well, definitely a hard-earned second place tonight for you, Craig Forsyth, and I want to give you one last chance to give any thanks and shout-outs for that runner-up position tonight at Gateway.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I got to thank Jim over at 40raceway.com. Good sponsor for the league, sponsor for the car. We got a discount code for the league, I believe, for the drivers, and he's a good guy to have sponsoring everything, and of course you guys over at Green White Checkers, you and Boomer and Gael. I should say both your names. I shouldn't say you and Gael.
No worries.
It's like, a good bunch of guys in the league. I mean, it was a bit of sour grapes tonight. I know just a lot of unfortunate incidents, but this is a track that generates that type of stuff. So got lucky to avoid. I came really close a couple times to being wiped out. So it's sink or swim at this track, and a lot of times when you're sinking, it's not even your fault that the anchor got tied to you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely surviving some of the chaos and also making some of your own luck by a hard charge late at the end there to get back into that second place. But a great job tonight for you, Craig.
Thanks. Have a good night. Stay safe.
All right, so that will do it for second and third place. We do still have to bring up our winner. That was the number 18 machine of Jeff Hysong, definitely an up and down night for just about everyone, but Jeff being able to be the one at the end capitalizing on it, and it was quite exciting to see you battle your way back through the field and got an opportune caution there at the end, and was able to get the lead and never look back.
Yeah, big shout out to Chris. He was giving me a hell of a time there at the end. I thought he was going to get one of those moves done, and I was going to have to settle for second, but I was able to hold him off, and yeah, what a race.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. I saw you and Nick kind of joking in Discord afterwards, saying like, "Oh yeah, start first, finish first." No, nothing in between there, obviously. But I mean, so we got to go back to that final pit stop because you did have to come out behind both Chris's actually there, able to get around the 83 there pretty quick and set sight on Chris Matthews in the 92. So we noticed there's about a 2-second difference between your pit lane time to theirs. Is that maybe just overshooting your pit stall a little bit? Or was it just your crew was maybe kind of asleep on the job on that final stop there?
No, I was having issues on pit lane, just my own little issues there. So that was all on me.
Well, it's nice you not to throw your crew under the bus. I don't know. I don't know if the AI would realize it or not, but yeah. But I mean, yeah. But then to do that, I mean, and did that change anything? Or like, okay, I gotta get this back. Like, I'm not giving up the win after like through a pit stop miscue. I mean, does it change at all your kind of your train of thought, or do you just kind of stay with that same mindset? It's like, hey, I've done this for a while. These guys are new to the scene. Or even on that alongside that too, it's like, hey, I haven't raced with these guys before all season long. Do you have to try to adjust and be like, how do I race them? I'm not used to racing them like a Craig Forsyth or a Nick DeGroot. I mean, how do you approach those challenges at the end of the race when it's a different driver than maybe you're used to?
I try and treat him just like anybody else, give him the space that I would give Nick or Craig or anybody else like that, and just kind of hope that it's reciprocated and we get away clean and the racing's clean. So, yeah, I came out of the pits in third. I was frustrated, banging my head against the wall, just another mistake I made in this race, and I was just like, I got to get these passes done. So right at the end there, once I got into second, I kept pushing the car really hard into turn one, hoping that Chris would kind of go in deeper, and it finally worked, and I was able to get up there.
Definitely exciting at the end for sure, and what's really going to be a great points night, I think, for you. Obviously, I mentioned earlier you were, I said earlier, it was your first win of the season. It's actually been your second. So really the only two, you and Nick DeGroot being the only two winners for the season, but a good points night to recover over Nick DeGroot after he was not able to recover from that late yellow, getting trapped a lap down and having to take a wave around. So definitely got to put a little bit of a smile on your face to have that little bit of a gap eaten up to the point leader in Nick DeGroot.
Yeah, definitely. It was funny because that one of the last pit stops, I was joking with Craig. He's like, "What are you doing? Why are you going to the pits? It's track position." I'm just like, I'm going to bank on a caution. I'm going to throw all my eggs in one basket, stay out as long as I can until everybody's pit, and just pray that a caution comes out while everybody's a lap down. And it worked.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know you got sounds like a baseball game to get to, so sounds like a lot of fun, and want to say congratulations to you for the win tonight, second of the season, and want to give you one last chance to give any thanks and shout-outs for the win tonight.
A big shout out to everybody racing tonight. Craig, Nick, Chris Matthews did an awesome job tonight. He put the pressure on me. Shout out to my family for supporting me and letting me do this, and you guys, as always, for doing such a great job.
All right, well, I apologize. It looks like it's actually a football game, my mistake. But go enjoy that with the family, and congratulations again, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right, so that will do it for the evening. What what a crazy race tonight. That was a lot of fun, Gael.
Oh yeah, that was a blast time. Like I said, unfortunate couple yellows that kind of slowed things down in the middle, but honestly, I think the ending made up for it there tonight with all the craziness and just the great racing. I mean, like I said, the big move by Craig there at the end. Chris and Jeff going at it tooth and nail there for a little while before finally Jeff able to sneak away just by a couple tenths of a second. Yeah, just a great race all around here. Let's say, but that being said, though, before we kick everybody out here, though, boom, we got to pull up our final results because unfortunately, not everybody got those great top 3, top 5 results they're looking for. But you, of course, got to show where they finished up in tonight's event as well. And that is going to, of course, well, obviously, we got our top 3 with Jeff Heisong, Nick DeGroot, and Gary, or actually, it looks like there's a little bit of
No,
that's qualifying result. There
yes,
we go. Like, wait a
is.
second, this looks different. Sorry, I had the wrong one there. There's our race results.
No, they're not.
Still in qualifying.
Interesting. Let me see
I think our SDK's fighting us a little bit here, folks.
I think so.
That's technology for us.
Yeah, trying to hit the results here, but it keeps pulling up as the qualifying results. So,
we'll do manual final results then.
All right.
So let's say unfortunately don't know why it's doing that, but that's the nature of technology. But so obviously Jeff Heisong, Craig Forsyth, and Chris Matthews are top 3, and then Chris Chabot and William Gunn. Also got to mention William, a great recovery for him as well to get back into that top 5. And Chris Chabot going to be noted as our highest climber with 11 spots gained, just one more than Chris Matthews. So he's able to get the bonus of hiding away from an interview and being the highest climber there. And then you got Nick DeGroot there in the 6th position. Joseph Morales, Vicente Guerrero, Yari Brubacher, Gary Corley rounding out our top 10. And then unfortunately those with the early retirements tonight, including Dylan McIntosh in 11th. Matt Wagner bounced back, though, got all the way back up to 12th after his troubles early on. And then Eric Peterson, CJ Holloman, Jim Brooks, and Luis Gonzalez Nunez in 16th. So unfortunately not the results they're looking for. And yep, I say right on cue, there's Boomer with the numbers there for all of us. But yeah, so unfortunately some drivers not the nights they're looking for, a couple early retirements. But man, like I said, that I think honestly the ending of that race definitely made up for it. So just a great job by everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely an exciting battle and lots of chaos, which is always fun to call. But I have to applaud the drivers for able to get about a 20-lap run to the finish there. So that always makes it fun and enjoyable to see something like that. And we really saw some great battles in those last 20 laps, which made everything from tonight, all the crazy action, worth it for sure. So definitely, as apologies, we pull up the race results now. You can look back through those after Gael has already mentioned. But yeah, definitely. Exciting for sure. An extension of the points. Probably not an extension, but maybe a decrease in the points lead for Nick DeGroot as Jeff Heisong takes the win. Our only 2 winners from this season, as Craig Forsyth has been knocking on the door all season long, trying to get his first win. Maybe try and see him do that maybe next week, but we'll have to wait until then. Definitely also saw some great battles from the Chris and Chris show, Chris Matthews and Chris Chabot. Appreciate those guys coming out tonight, and mixed bag of results throughout the field. Obviously wasn't expecting to see Nick DeGroot as far back, but William Gunn in the top 5, a great run. So all sorts of craziness all over the place, and I had a blast, Gael.
Yeah, so this was a fun one for sure. And I'm saying this again, it's just a story of what's going to be kind of coming up the rest of the way here. Because I say we're not even halfway through this thing. We're going to have a lot more fun in these coming weeks. Because next week, I say it's going to be another challenge for these guys after tonight at Worldwide Technology. We're going to go full tilt here next week over. Oh, actually, no, that's the wrong series. Let's go to the right schedule there. So I'm pulling everything up wrong here as well on my side. Here's the correct series. After tonight, Worldwide, we go to Kansas Speedway on September 13th. And then we're going to go to the road course at Spa over the ocean there. Formula One just competed there a few weeks ago, so that'll be a fun one as well. So, yeah, Kansas will be an interesting one. Of course, we're used to the Cup cars kind of wanting to run the top groove there. I don't think that's going to be the case for the Indy cars, but it will be interesting to see how that progressive banking behaves with these guys.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to be exciting. And the championship battle is still heating up. We've still got, it's still, looks like it's going to be a 2-car or a 2-horse race so far, but there's still time for people like Craig Forsyth to turn up the heat and continue to charge towards that championship. So going to be a fun battle. And as always, the action's going to be right here on Green White Checkered TV. Make sure to be back next week on Tuesday. Got an exciting battle, as Gael mentioned, and we're going to be looking forward to seeing that. Don't forget to check out our Thursday night series. We've got the Truck Series Super Speedways racing. It's going to be a blast to watch those guys, and just as it is every week. So we'll also see on Sunday nights we have our Xfinity Series car Super Speedway racing as well. So be sure to check those guys out if you haven't already. If you thought tonight was a lot of action, those races on Thursday nights and Sunday nights are a ton of action, so lots of fun to follow everywhere here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday nights on Green White Checkered here. For the Dark Horse Area 51 League tonight, it was a great battle and a lot of fun, as we mentioned, seeing on top of the scoring pylon the number 18 taking home the win. And yeah, looking forward to being back next week. Hope you all have a great week and hope to see you again soon. Take care, everybody.